Hi guys! Okay, so I just wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about understanding roving yarn specifically. So Mama Knows Luxury Big Stitch yarn is woolen top. So woolen top is fibers from sheep wool fibers that have been drafted into these strands. The big combs on the commercial machines that do this comb the fibers so that they all go in one direction and force them tightly together so that there's very little air in between the fibers. There are some who will say that knitting with woolen tops it shouldn't be done because they claim that it will break easily, that it will fall apart, that it will rip and tear, and so on and so forth. And you know, to each their own. There's people out there who knit with spaghetti noodles. We can knit with whatever we want. The most important thing is having a proper understanding as to what the finished product is going to be. Roving yarns are not a new thing. Roving yarns are produced by massive companies and are so popular. People use roving yarns every single day and might not even realize that they're considered to be roving yarns. So a roving yarn is a yarn that is unspun. So I just wanted to show you this. So this is a strand of worsted weight yarn, and it's been spun into a 2-ply yarn. So what that means is it's not only been spun down to a certain thickness of yarn, but it's also been plied so that you've got more than one strand. So spinning yarn makes it very strong. Where did we go here? Here we are. So when you take this yarn that has been spun and put your muscles on it, it doesn't break very easily. You can break it, but you really would have a lot of trouble breaking it. It's a thin little strand of yarn and it's got tons of strength, and the strength comes from the fact that it's been spun. When you get into roving yarns, you get into a special beast. So this is stunning sugar bush yarn. It's 100% pure extra fine merino. It's a roving yarn. So rather than spinning the fibers from these woolen tops to make them down into a smaller yarn, so what the spinners do is they draft the fibers off the end and it spins them around and around and around and creates this yarn. Instead, what they do is they draft these fibers down through their machines and eventually create this new yarn. So here's the thing. People say you shouldn't use woolen tops to knit with because they shed, because they pill, because they break. The reality is that this is true, but this is something that we accept in order to create a luxury piece that's smooth and soft and that has huge stitches and that looks beautiful as a decor piece. Any roving yarn, any roving yarn has all of those same properties. They will shed, as you can see, just can pull these fibers off. They will tear and come apart, and they will break, right? So when you take a roving yarn and you put some muscle on them, they break easily. I've addressed this before making pom-poms and said how when I make a pom-pom from a roving yarn, I use a regular spun worsted yarn to tie the pom-pom together because roving is not strong. It's not meant to be strong. So here's a roving yarn from a massive company. And I just wanted to show you the care instructions. So it's 100%, oh, upside down, let's see. It's 100% pure, hang on a second here. There we go. 100% pure wool made in Canada. And the care instructions are to hand wash and lay flat to dry. I'm not sure why I'm having trouble here today. Upside down again. Here we go. Let's do that properly. There we go. Hand wash. Let's hold this properly. Lay flat to dry. Same instructions as our yarn. Same issue. When you take this roving yarn and you slide on it, it sheds. Eventually, over time, those shed bits are going to pill. Right? You can split it, comes apart, and as you can see, it falls apart. If somebody is to claim that woolen tops are not to be knitted with and that it's frowned upon to do so, they would need to make that same claim about all roving yarns, about this stunning yarn that you can pick up at any craft store for $8, about this amazing sugar bush yarn that everybody loves, that people are working with every single day. Where'd that little pink bit go? When you start working, did it stick to me? When you start working with these high-end yarns, you're accepting the fact that in order to get the luxurious feel and the beautiful loft of these roving yarns, you're accepting the fact that these require care and are much more delicate. In fact, the delicacy of them is what makes them so luxurious. This is an end from a yarn that I purchased in a kit from a very popular company. Their wool is pure Peruvian wool. You probably see it in your newsfeed every day. And guess what? It's roving yarn. It falls apart. Right? That's the nature of it. It's no different for our giant big stitch yarn. You can separate it, and when you put your muscles on it, it's going to come apart. Is it falling apart? Absolutely not. You have to put some strength in it to break it, but it can be broken, and that's important to know. And this is what you should educate yourself on and be aware of when you start to use a roving yarn, any roving yarn, whether it's Mama Knows Luxury Big Stitch or your average roving yarn that you can pick up at the craft store. I hope you found this helpful. I can't wait to do more videos for you all. Thank you so much for watching.